A very good evening and hello once again to Beyond the Boundary. आपका स्वागत है TUI स्पोर्ट्स पर। हम बात कर रहे हैं और जारी करेंगे हम बात। पूरा हफ्ता हमने इस बारे में बात की है और क्यों ना करें, बिकॉज द बॉर्डर गावस्कर ट्रॉफी द सेकंड टेस्ट मैच इज अपॉन अस, द पिंक बॉल टेस्ट, Australia versus India at Adelaide, and the preparations are in full swing. आज भी प्रिपरेशन हुई है, काफी सारी न्यूज आई हैं, प्रेस कॉन्फ्रेंस भी हुई है। केएल राहुल वाज इन द प्रेस कॉन्फ्रेंस टुडे, so we'll take a look at what he said, and we have a full panel for you today. Some different voices from our host of panelists, so we will get a different opinion as we build up towards the second test match. So let's welcome K. Srinivas Rao, Group Sports Editor, Times of India, and also our senior editors, Sahil Malhotra and Dopayan Datta. Welcome to the show once again. K. Srinivas
Hey,
Rao, coming first to you, KSR. We got a lot right in terms of predicting the playing 11 for that first test match. Let's start with that. Uh, you know, seeing how things went in favor of India, how Australia played. How are you looking at, just to set up the platform, set up the base? How are you looking at this second test match?
I was reading. I think I was reading the Times of India's story. I think Gaurav Gupta
Yeah.
wrote it in Times of India, if I'm not mistaken, that Rohit Sharma could bat at number 4. Right? Wasn't it the Times of India story?
I saw the
Written
story
by
with
me, written by me.
those
I
Dubai,
I,
the
I think.
Gaurav Gupta
Hitman
story.
3.0.
That's 3.0,
Dwaipan
yeah,
the
yeah.
story. Yeah.
Oh, okay, it was Dwaipan's story. Okay.
Dubai.
So I was reading the Times of India, and kind of the when I was reading it, I was like, yes, I mean, will it happen? Until then, I was like, yes, obviously, this is the thing, but is it going to happen? Like, kind of. So, if that happens, if Rohit Sharma is batting at number 4, I think it's a great statement. It's a great statement from Team India. It's a great statement from the Indian captain, going by form, going by whatever happened, keeping your priorities right, not meddling with the things that have gone well for us in the first test. I think it's a great statement. Outside of that, when you're talking about playing 11, I don't think Washington Sundar's place is under scrutiny at all. He stays. So for me, it's a no change. Yeah, only Devdutt Padikkal goes out and Rohit Sharma comes in.
And Shubman Gill. And Shubman Gill, if he's fit,
Yeah,
isn't so?
Shubman Gill. Yeah.
Okay,
Shubman Gill.
Gopal, let's come to you. And for our viewers, first of all, Gaurav Gupta did a story कि Washington Sundar का खेलना तय है playing 11 में. You can check that.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Dopayan,
Washington.
our own Datta, Didi did a story on Rohit Sharma batting at number 4. Didi, come on, let's talk about this. What are the moving parts here? Rohit Sharma at number 4. We have another great Indian batter who bats at number 4. How are you looking at things? I mean, how did you arrive at the number 4? What are your sources telling you?
No. Number 4 was for that day. He will obviously not bat at number 4. Number 4 is Virat Kohli. So
Yeah.
he has to be either 5 or 6.
Hmm.
So there is a chance that if he does not want to change the structure of the team, then
Hmm.
he can beautifully fit into the number 6 slot, letting Pant be the number 5, and in that way you maintain that left-right combination also, a left-hand batter in the middle who has settled in very well. But the number 5 option is also there. So basically, the ball getting slightly old, a man who is struggling for form, having things slightly easier up when he is starting the innings. So taking all those things into consideration, Rohit Sharma at number 5 or number 6 will be the most sane option at this point of time, given the fact that you had a 200-run partnership in the second innings of the first test. So you don't change anything, uh, just the basic two changes that have to be made are being made, and the
Okay.
rest stays the same. So I look at it that way.
Okay. You talked about this and you wrote this in your piece as well when the practice game was going on. But my point is कि practice game में साहिल भी थे शो पे, उन्होंने भी ये कहा था कि are we looking at a structure that has already been given to the Indian batting lineup, or at the same time Rohit Sharma, okay, it was just a practice game. That is why he was coming down in the middle order. You don't want to lay down your cards, etc., etc. So has my question here is, has the Indian team already laid down its card? Today, KL Rahul also came in the press conference and said, I've been told where I'm going to bat. We'll talk about that. At the same time, I'm saying in terms of just the pink ball game preparation, just the warm up, are India's batting cards already out in the open?
Yeah, I think yes, they're very much out in the open. I don't see Rohit Sharma kind of opening the innings because he didn't have too much game time, real game time under his belt, and the practice game was probably his only opportunity to face the new ball. So I thought if he wanted to open the innings from the Adelaide Test onwards, the opportunity was there for the taking during the pink ball warm-up game. He didn't do that. And now we could well look at a situation as Didi said, as Srini said, as you have been saying, Rohit Sharma in the middle order. Why not play him as that impact player we have been all raving about in the IPL? The moment that Kukavura gets old, just unleash Rohit Sharma and tell him to have all fun and games out there. 45 minutes of Rohit Sharma madness will bat Australia out of the game. We all know that. And you have been, Chetan, you have been harping on the old Kukavura theory since the first build-up show. And we all saw that, right? When KL Rahul blunted the new ball in the second innings, how easier things got for the likes of Virat Kohli to just, have that 100 at number 4. So, Rohit Sharma to me could well be your impact player now and have that impact which is needed. Rishabh Pant, Rohit Sharma at 5 and 6, a proper entertainment, dhamal hone wala hai. If
Yeah,
they
but
get to face Ishku Kabura, yeah.
okay, my question was also to Dwapayan when he wrote that story. What was his sources telling him? Ki, was that a firm preparation? Because sometimes we have seen कि जो आपका warm up game में हुआ है वो not necessarily that it will happen later on in the test match as well. So what does your information say? What does your understanding say of the situation, Dwapayan, where Rohit Sharma batting in the middle? I mean, obviously not at number 4. It's the question that I'm putting there. What is the middle order shaping up for India, and are they going to align it the same way as they did it in the warm up game?
It looks like because I will again mention that thing because when you do not get a 200 run partnership on a foreign land
Yeah,
uh, uh, every day. So when
yeah,
you get that, when you have that, you do not break that. You should not break that,
yeah,
even if it is for a captain. And Rohit Sharma, being Rohit Sharma, a very flexible guy who has come down the batting order in IPL also for his team and won the tournament. We had seen it in 2015 and later also, if I'm not wrong.
yeah,
So he has that flexibility in him. So
yeah,
there is no reason why he should not come down the order. It helped, and the rest of the parts stay the same. Shubman Gill at 3 is obviously a certainty, and Virat 4. So Rohit coming in at 5 or 6, whatever he feels comfortable with, is the best thing to do. Like and taking everything into consideration, like there is no um, unnecessary chopping and changing at
yeah,
only hurts the team. I think it
yeah,
hurts the team. Why would you change? But there is
yeah.
no reason when there is no reason to. And a player like Rohit Sharma, as Sahil is saying, is and mind it, he started his career as a middle order batter. He played almost 6 years, though on and off, as a middle order batter, and he
He
has
started off.
an average of 39.62 as a middle order bat. So it is not very bad. So even if he maintains his average batting at 5 or 6, that will stand the team in good state.
Yeah.
So I
Okay.
think it is a sane decision.
Yeah.
If
Okay.
even if
Before
he
the first test
goes
match,
that way.
yeah, yeah. Before the first test match, we had the coach and everybody saying you don't have a player like KL Rahul. Not every team has a player like KL Rahul. जो ऊपर भी bat करे, नीचे भी bat करे. It seems like our entire batting lineup is actually quite flexible. Even if you look at Rohit Sharma, the captain, and you know what, Srini, not many teams have such reinforcements. ठीक है, injury की वजह से या जो भी permutation combination बना personal reasons की वजह से, we played the lineup that we played in Perth. But now you go 1-0 up, and suddenly you have the likes of Rohit Sharma and Shubman Gill who are coming into your batting lineup, which has scored 500 runs. Your opening partnership has got 200 runs, and it's now being accentuated by Shubman Gill at 3, Virat Kohli in form at 4, and then Rohit Sharma at 5 or Rohit Sharma at 6, and Rishabh Pant does Rishabh Pant thing. So suddenly, if you're looking in the Australian dressing room, वो पहले से ही परेशान होंगे कि 1-0 डाउन है. Now they'll be like, okay, now this is an even more full strength Indian batting lineup that they have to face with. Your thoughts?
Imagine Mohammad Shami is not joined.
Mohammad
I
Shami.
was like, just add to this, had
Yeah,
Shami flown to Australia. But
yeah,
somehow we tend to probably prosper the most in Australia when it comes to they're like, stuffed into a corner and you have no choice but to punch above your weight. And that's been
yeah,
the long and
yeah.
short of India's recent successes there. But having said that, you know,
Hmm.
as I said, I'm not going to change my tune here. I'm still very, very surprised in such a pleasant manner, absolutely pleasantly surprised by the way the Indian team performed in Perth. And before this
Yeah.
test match and the build up to this tour, I was not expecting any of this. And I am particularly surprised with the support that Jasprit Bumrah got, from the two other fast bowlers. And especially what I saw of Harshit Rana, because I had really not seen much of him from a red ball, this thing. So from what I
Yeah.
saw and what I now have in the kind of at the back of my mind, yes, bolstering the batting is now all I need, because this pace attack convinces me. Kind of especially in Adelaide, like Perth, I would still say was a great batting track. I don't know what is in store at Adelaide. I have not read much about kind of what kind of a track etc. is available, but yes, a day and night. I think Sahil had brought this up in one of our previous conversations. Sahil or Nitin, I think, where we spoke about the twilight factor. The day and night obviously brings a lot of other dimensions into play. We have the attack, but do we now have the batting order? See, I said this, Chetan, at the start of the series also. It's all very good to kind of apply our mind to the fact that you need 20 wickets to, kind of take away a test match. Point is, what kind of cushion are we providing these bowlers to, kind of go for those 20 wickets? So I'm
Hmm.
saying that unless we and batting, putting runs on board is a matter of confidence. It just kind of, you got to put it in your own minds that you can stand there and score. So for coming into this series, for me, the biggest question was, do we have the kind of arsenal that's required to put those runs on board?
Yeah.
From what I saw in the first test, many of those boxes have been ticked.
Hmm.
And well, as I said, then just Rohit and Shubman joining in just
Yeah.
adds muscle to what I've already seen.
Yeah, and Nimish says that he has a very strong feeling that Shubman Gill, a big 100 is coming from Shubman Gill. Well, he looked good in that practice game, got a half century, got those boundaries going. जो typical Shubman Gill की boundaries होती है ना, जहाँ पे the bottom hand comes into play, and and the power through those wrists flows. You could see that from Shubman Gill, and Australia is a place where he loves the bounce. I think now it's becoming traditional for all Indian batters. They love the bounce in Australia. Trini put up a point, really good point about what the pitch is going to be like. So we have a comment from the pitch curator at the Adelaide Oval. Let's get his comment up. It's Damien Hugh, who is the pitch curator at the Adelaide Oval, and he said, Sahil, they are trying to go for a pitch which is synonymous with the Sheffield Shield games, or how they have done it. If you read the whole story, which is on Times of India, done by Amit Kumar of Times of India, he says they're looking something which is typically Adelaide Oval, but not the Adelaide Oval of 2014, जहाँ पर Nathan Lyon was turning it square, because they've been playing a lot more pink ball test cricket in Adelaide. और pink ball का जो shine और lacquer है उसको बचाने के लिए you need a little more layering of grass, which means in the Sheffield Shield, where you also have the pink ball rounds, especially in Adelaide, and you have that ball doing a lot more under lights. He did say that spin is going to be a feature under lights. Spinners will come into play, but overall स्टोरी वही रहने वाली है जो हमने पहले एडलेड के पिंक बॉल टेस्ट में देखा है. देयर इज गोइंग टू बी अ लिटिल मोर ग्रास ऑन द surface, lively for the first couple of days, I guess. Once the sun beats down on it in the afternoon session, who knows? But a little bit lively grass, which keeps the pink ball shining for longer. Your thoughts on the pitch? We'll get everybody's thoughts.
Yeah, I think Amit told me about the conversation which he had with the curator after the press conference today,
Yeah,
and the 6 mm grass, the firmness of the surface, and all those things point only towards the direction that there will be early purchase for the quicks, but there are no demons in this pitch. There will be no demons in this pitch from the distance, at least from some thousand miles away from the pictures which we have seen. I think that kind of tells you that it looks very firm and hard from the distance. The pictures look great, and 6 of grass means yes, they need to keep the lacquer of the pink ball intact. Otherwise,
Yeah.
it tends to deteriorate very quickly. And it was bright and sunny for the last couple of days at least. There are some thunderstorm warnings during the test match, so let's see how that unfolds, because जब बरसात हुआ था तो फिर इंडिया फर्स्ट इनिंग के अंदर मेघा मेघा हो गया था, तो वो अब क्या होगा उसका पता नहीं. So I hope the rain clouds stay away. Looks to be a cracking pitch for cricket यार. मेरे को तो ऐसा कुछ देख के लगा नहीं, या सुनकर ऐसा लगा नहीं कि the curator is trying something notorious. I think he's trying to roll out a balanced track, and that is what we'll have on display.
The point from a bowling perspective, Josh Hazelwood missing out, but India, just to borrow from that first test, India will feel their first choice bowling attack. Um, Australia, Hazelwood missing for them. He's been such a huge bowler for them, especially with the pink ball, especially in Adelaide, especially against India, if we remember last time. How do you see the two bowling attacks match up in terms of what the pitch curator has said?
Yes, before I go into that, I will just add one point to what Sahil said. Like, I was just listening to a Cheteshwar Pujara interaction, and he explained it very beautifully that with the pink ball, what happens is the ball comes a little faster and a
Yeah,
little higher than it does in with the same with a red ball, even in
with that, yeah.
Australia. So the reaction time of the batsman becomes less. So, and in a situation like that, like how well the pitch is what it is. We know that this 6 millimeter grass will be there in almost all the tracks, because they have to most drop in pitches, and they have to make hold, the pitch has to hold. So the 6 millimeter grass idea is going to stay, and evening movement, that will be there, that is there. But this part which Cheteshwar Pujara said, that this ball comes faster and higher from the same spot, so it could be slightly faster and higher, even if we take Perth into consideration. So that will be a massive challenge against people like Stark, uh, Mitchell Stark. And though Mitchell Stark's length could be slightly fuller, Mitchell Stark, uh,
Well, yeah,
Mitchell Stark's, yeah, Mitchell Stark's length could be slightly fuller, but yes, Hazelwood is a big miss for Australia. Is a big miss, though. But the thing is, Scott Boland is a very able bowler. He knows what to do. He hits the spots all the time, and he's there, always there and thereabouts. But in the practice game, these Indian batters negotiated Scott Boland well. They played him
well,
well,
yeah.
which was a very good sign. Like, I was slightly worried. I Because I remember Scott Boland giving India a torrid time in the WTC final.
WTC
Is it
final, yeah. Yeah,
WTC
WTC
final?
final,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah. He can be that, if you remember, Stuart Clark kind of a bowler who hits the
Yeah.
seam all the time, and he's always there.
In the
And
channel, yes.
Cummins, yeah. And Cummins, we know what to expect from Cummins. Like, he is obviously a champion bowler. But yes, Hazelwood not being there is not is a bit of a worry for Australia, definitely.
Okay. Perth may you expect the length to be pulled back just a bit, as you were mentioning. Ki Mitchell Stark, you expect him to pitch the ball a little up, especially जब वाका पे मैच होते थे. You expected that length to be a little shorter. वो आपका Optus Stadium में भी आपका you seeing that feature a lot more with the bounce and the carry in that the kind of surfaces that they are building there. Um, as you mentioned rightly, with the pink ball to benefit from that seam movement, and especially you might see an element of swing also with the pink ball, जो ज्यादातर आपको ऑस्ट्रेलिया में देखने को नहीं मिलता है, खासकर कि सेकंड सेशन में और थर्ड सेशन में. Do you feel, Dobayan, there is a chance, like here's Dipankar Jyoti, and why I'm asking is because this comment has actually got me thinking. Akash Deep is probably a touch more suited because of the length that he bowls. Because आपने वो length की बात की, that is the natural length for Akash Deep, whereas Harshit Rana, just that short of good length, that is his natural length. So do you feel there might be a change in one bowler, horses for courses policy, or no? There's no necessity for India to make that change.
I feel there is no necessity, for the simple reason that when it's a 6 millimeter grass, your
Yeah,
Siraj and Bumrah will be effective. Will be effective with the new ball, And
Yeah,
Harshit Rana, what he gives you is raw pace at a time when the ball is not doing as much. We
as
also
much.
saw that in the practice game. So
Yes, yes.
that burst of pace at a time when the ball is not doing much can be a major factor. Akashdeep is a very tempting option. He does everything right to be in the team. Just that this Harshit Rana boy has suddenly come out of nowhere and has that ball with which he got Travis Head in the first innings. We probably in the euphoria of Bumrah not we have not discussed it as much. But had Travis had not got out on that day, we wouldn't have got that lead in the first innings that was so important. So that extra
Well,
pace is very important, and he brings a new dimension to the attack. So it should
yeah,
not be
yeah.
changed.
Which is interesting to see what the Indians had said. Ki they were attacking stumps for Travis Head because he's somebody who's always looking to attack and play shots. तो आप उसकी stumps attack करोगे because he's going to give you that chance. Srini, you raised your hand. You want to add?
I wouldn't I wouldn't compromise raw pace for anything.
Yeah,
And for me, Harshit brings that to the squad. And I mean, what is playing on their mind right now? I would rather go with what is playing on Australia's mind. Like for example, Dwaipayan was mentioning Boland a while back, right? I mean, Indians going into this test match, Rohit Sharma going into the test match, Boland, obviously immediately you will remember the World Test Championship final, and the fact that the more Boland is a kind of a guy, the more see, unlike a Josh Hazelwood who needs that early burst and a rhythm to kind of make his impact. Boland is a guy who like more he takes time settling down in a test match, the more the Travis head with the ball kind of a thing, right? So
hmm.
that has been a pain for India. So these things tend to play on the minds of players. And same is the case with Harshit Rana. I'm not going to compromise Harshit Rana for. I do understand the temptation here. That the
To the
fact that you're
Akash
putting
bro.
up Akashdeep's name. Kind of these conditions. I understand, but for me, still the fact that I can take pace to the ball to the game, I
Hmm.
am going to stick to that, and I think that will be a very, very
Yeah.
important component.
Yeah, especially when you have the likes of Bumrah and Siraj who can do that particular job of pitching that ball up, and then you need somebody like an enforcer, and this is where the balance of the attack really comes in. Question for you, Sahil, very quickly. Sports fan, he's asking, they will be without the services of Marsh. Any update on him? Till yesterday, the update was that he's not fit to bowl. Sahil, any further update? Is Mitchell Marsh going to bowl in this Test match?
No, I saw visuals of him around the practice area today. So he is practicing. Not really sure about the bowling front and
Yeah.
whether Australia would want to play him just as a specialist batter, because
Hmm.
we saw that a lot the quicks were kind of overworked in the second innings. So let's see how that rolls out. Whether they'll be comfortable playing Mitchell Marsh just as a pure batter, because I did see some visuals of the practice today and
Yeah.
Mitchell Marsh was very much there. So still no further update on that, but yes, he was very much there in Adelaide today, practicing with the side.
Right. As always, we would request you to do subscribe to the YouTube channel and like the video and share so that more of we can increase our community on YouTube, and also more people can watch the video. And if you do like it, do share and subscribe. आगे बढ़ते हैं. आज एक प्रेस कॉन्फ्रेंस हुई है. केएल राहुल की आए थे. उनकी प्रेस कॉन्फ्रेंस हुई है, and there are a few comments that he's made. Let's see what he said today about playing the pink ball test. It's the first time that he's playing a pink ball game, so that's a clean slate for him really, and he'll try and see what happens. एक बात ये जरूर हम कहेंगे, उन्होंने ये भी कहा था कि they also have somebody like him who's not played pink ball before. Dwapayan, coming to you with this one. uh, it's important to soak in कि जैसे आपने बताया ना, चेतेश्वर पुजारा ने कहा कि बॉल एक्स्ट्रा करेगी. I'm just talking from not from a KL Rahul perspective, from all batters perspective, क्योंकि इतना आप पिंक बॉल के साथ खेलते भी नहीं हो, right? So it's not just KL Rahul की तो slate completely clean है, लेकिन for others, even the likes of Virat Kohli who scored 100 in a pink ball, he's not been facing the pink ball for such a long time. So he's just coming off the back of playing against the red ball. तो वो थोड़ा सा minor adjustment हर बैटर को करना है, whether it's an Australian batter or an Indian batter, somebody with a clean slate, somebody who got 100 in that previous game. So a lot of work will go in the net sessions ahead of this second test match, and it's about that minor adjustment that you make against the pink ball, isn't it?
Absolutely, absolutely. That that adjustment needs to be done. And mind it, Australia also, when they played that last pink ball test, that was beginning of the year, and they lost that test match.
Yes.
Just to like
हाँ बोलो बोलो जितना हमें
no, no,
mind
no,
reading
to set the
yeah, yeah.
to set the
Indian media
record
will
straight.
say mind right yeah
Yeah. So it's not that like they have been great against the new ball. We have seen that same West Indian side how they lost to Bangladesh yesterday.
yeah
So anyway, the point is, yes, as you are saying, making that adjustment as a batter, and I think KL Rahul has gone into this series knowing that this is his last chance to
Hmm.
like be a regular part of the test match team, and he has made that adjustment in his mind, in his game, and he
Hmm.
has put in a lot of effort. What see KL Rahul scoring a few beautiful runs here and there, we are used to that. What I really liked about the KL Rahul innings in Perth and in the practice game was the way he was leaving the balls. He
yeah
was his
Not
art of
committing.
leaving. That is what
yeah
really fascinated me. Like he left so many deliveries so well, which took the sting out of the new ball and made things easy for the batters coming in.
Hmm.
And yes, and so that idea of soaking in the pressure, and when you have a number three like Shubman Gill, who is a kind of an attacking batsman,
yeah
who is not exactly a guy who will just put his head down and graft kind of a batsman. He is not. So
yeah
that grafting element in the top order among the top four has to come from KL Rahul, and I think he has done that in his mind and in his game to
yeah
ensure that he keeps doing it in this Australia series. And if he does it in Adelaide, great, great.
yeah
Then we are sorted.
I agree with you in terms of saying that he's probably playing for his long term future and but I don't think he's thinking about it as much क्योंकि एक बात तो तय है ना श्रीनी he's made sure that he's proven his utility in that sense KL Rahul when Gautam Gambhir the Indian coach comes out and says pre-tour कि there are not many players that many team possess like KL Rahul. He's actually come out and proven that. He's come out how useful he can be, what a clutch player he is. And also, one more comment that he made today was that he has already been told. There was a sheepish smile on his face that he's already been told, but he's been told not to share with us. When you say you, he meant the media. So you'll have to wait for day one, or maybe when the captain comes here tomorrow. So we are hoping Rohit Sharma speaks to the media tomorrow. Uh, but it's good to see that the plans are already set in place. If you had to take a punt, what would you say? He is opening, or he's batting at three, or that's middle order? If
You
just
know
go
what
by.
Dwaipine was mentioning, the corrections that he's made, etc. The
Yeah,
one thing when I was watching him bat in Perth, especially in the second innings, what's the first thing that occurred to your mind is that he's he's just back to kind of mastering that art of not making a commitment to a delivery.
yeah,
He's just like kind of that control is all about that in test match cricket. When you're batting, especially up against the new ball, the whole battle is about not making a commitment. You fall in love but don't commit,
mm,
kind of a thing. And I think that's where he came out looking trumps. And I will completely go by this comment, this person's comment to just is highlighted good to great. uh, you know yes, Rohit is class, but it's time to do something different here. Stick to KL Rahul at the top of the order,
that's
and
a sensible thing
that's
to do. Yeah,
that's a sensible thing to do, and I
sensible,
totally
sensible.
agree with this comment.
Yeah. Look, एक comment और भी है. It's just a little offbeat, मतलब off track comment. Offbeat तो नहीं कहूँगा. Off track जा रहे हैं हम यहाँ पे, but Sahil and Dopayan, is the era of Rohit opening in the tests over? Because if KL Rahul, I mean, we're looking very far ahead. अभी 4 टेस्ट मैच बाकी हैं. He's already asking about the England series. There's a potentially the WTC final if you do well in this series. So are we looking too far ahead? Is this something that we think about? From my perspective, I would say when I said कि KL का हम long term future की बात कर रहे हैं, he's confirming that, you know. But whether he will continue to open or not, I think that's still some, I think, very far off, right, Sahil?
Yeah. See, one thing is for clear, the depth in Indian cricket as far as openers are concerned
Yes.
is not there. And that was
Yeah.
the only reason why Abhimanyu Iswaran was named in the squad but they decided to play Devdutt Patikal, who was part of the India A setup. So clearly they are not convinced with Abhimanyu Easwaran. And
Yeah.
Abhi Easwaran ke alawa, if you look beyond Easwaran, Mayank Agarwal, for the amount of runs he has been scoring in domestic cricket, that consistency and wo Faraz kind of season hasn't happened. Same
Yeah.
for Priyank Panchal. After what he did for Gujarat, uske baad he also kind of faded away. So right now, you pick three openers on your fingers, you won't be able to name them. Sai Sudarshan, yes, but again, a very untested commodity. You would
Yes.
want to
Yes.
give him time and have him battle it out with Devdutt Patikal for a reserve opener or a number three reserve player spot. But opener, if you're looking at overseas tests, you need one consistent series from KL Rahul. I'll still maintain that we shouldn't go gaga over Perth if the disappointments follow in Brisbane, Adelaide, Melbourne, and
Yeah.
Sydney.
That's
To
why I
me,
said
that
it's a long way to go. It's a long
yeah.
way
So
to go.
I think अभी मेरे को at least 3 half centuries more from KL Rahul, then I'll be sorted in my head कि इसको consistency
Okay.
भी आता है. Batting तो आता है, but अब वो
Yeah.
consistency आता है कि नहीं आता, वो बहुत important part है. That's what
Yeah.
separates good from the greats, right? You need to be
Yes.
consistent.
Yes. Okay, Srini, your thoughts? You wanted to say
You
something
know,
on this?
I quickly, because this comes to mind. देखो, अगर आप, if in this test match you're going to make, allowing KL to open and bringing Rohit down the order is almost a statement that you're going to make if you go ahead with this, right? And if you
Yeah.
are making a statement that, because you're saying that, I am impressed by what KL did in Perth, and I'm willing to back this. So now when you are reaching that those levels of kind of understanding where a player's ability is concerned, stick to it. Don't meddle with it again and again. Something, maybe for some odd reason, let's say Adelaide really doesn't go the way you planned, that doesn't mean that you come back to again with a different plan in Brisbane.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
stick to a plan. You identified that KL is the guy you want alongside Yashasvi, and that's working for you. And as Sahil mentioned earlier in this conversation, that Rohit with the old Kukubara in the middle order can probably prove to be a very different kettle of fish. Stick to that game plan and do not waver with it every now and then. Whatever you decide, kind of give it some time to work out. It can work out immediately starting the Adelaide test, or maybe a test or two, but don't
Yeah.
keep fiddling, is what I
Okay,
say.
before we move on from KL Rahul, just one final comment from Dopayan. I mean, Dopayan, he started off as an opener. कर्नाटका के लिए बहुत बड़े रन्स बनाए, टीम इंडिया में आए. ठीक है, टीम इंडिया में when he debuted, he had to bat in the middle order, but he was quickly back to opening the innings. Did well. There was a time when he was scoring a string of 90s, and also as an opener, he naturally understands what to do, even in overseas conditions or home conditions. As a middle order batter, we were talking about adjustments, right? So he's had to make those adjustments. How easy or tough is it to be able to transition to a middle order batter and then go back to being an opening batter? The kind of roles that he's performing nowadays. How easy or tough is it?
See, when you are playing abroad uh,
Yeah.
against Kukabura, then opening is definitely a more challenging
Bigger
job.
challenge.
Like it is way more challenging, and the ball becomes easier to face. So an opener can always probably, if he is capable enough, he can always come down the order and also be successful when you are playing abroad. But where spin is not coming into play. But in the
Yeah.
case of India, it's slightly different because the middle order batters have to be extremely good against spin. That is a very important factor. Like pace and spin become two completely different segments in India, which is probably not as much in abroad. So
Yeah.
that is one part of the thing, and I think like the best thing about KL is that KL always had the class. That class उसमें
Hmm.
always था. But I remember in 2018 in England, before the Oval Test in the nets, KL was struggling. So
Yeah.
Ravi Shastri just doing his hand like this, almost begging him not to probably overcommit. No, no, no. Like I saw that during the training session, like before, he's almost begging him not to do that. And you and I
Hmm.
were sitting, I think, beside
Yeah.
we were with each other. Then we saw that second inning century that he
Yeah.
scored, he and Pant. So,
Ian Pant.
so,
Yeah.
so big. उसमें वो भी है, दो स्मॉल एडजस्टमेंट्स का एबिलिटी भी है, and he has everything in his game, just that sometimes a lot of factors come into play, probably then IPL pressure, T20
Yeah,
cricket. He's
yeah,
sometimes a
yeah.
two format player, sometimes a three format player, sometimes so it kind of the head gets muddled up. It's good that here he has gone with one idea, and probably after what he has done, he will open. So let's hope for the best. Let him stay the opener for a while. Yeah.
Yeah, those adjustments were not easy because there was a time when he was trying very hard to be a better white ball batter, better white ball cricketer, trying to be an all format player for India. And, that probably did a little more harm to his mindset than anything else. Nimish says KL era mein enter ho chuke hain hum, which is actually a very good thing to see because KL Rahul has usually for the last 1 year copped a lot of criticism. So, people are falling in love again, once again, with his batting, especially his test batting. That is something that really is great to see. The support that the Indian fans can give their players is always a big positive. Sometimes it can be a negative, huh, Sahil? जो न्यूज आ रहा है एडलेड से, sometimes it can be a negative. Let's have that news story. The Indian cricketers were heckled today at practice, and as a result, all practice sessions on the remaining on this remaining tour will be closed doors. Will be closed to the public. Can we have that story? Yes, that's on the screen right now. Um, Decision follows disturbances caused by loud chants and comments from fans during the training in Adelaide on December 3, which was today, and affected the preparation for pink ball test starting December 6. Something like what? What happened, Sahil? Do you have more information for us?
No, this is just the filtered version. From what I heard, the
I
chants
know.
and
Let's
what
go
was heard.
unfiltered. Let's go unfiltered. Yeah.
The players were body shamed, they were fat shamed, they were booed when they were dismissed, they were
Yeah.
hurled chants when they missed a delivery, when they played and missed. बार बार बोला जा रहा था अबे चौका मार, अबे छक्का मार, बोर क्यों कर रहा है. This was supposed to be a practice session, and the moment I saw the visuals last evening, I knew something was just waiting to blow up, because Virat Kohli, when he was entering the practice space with Shubman Gill, if you would have seen that video on social media, the chants were madness. They were madness. And having covered a fair bit of practice sessions and the kind of atmosphere our team especially, आप overseas teams के भी मैंने practice sessions cover करे हैं, they play their music on the speaker, on the loudspeakers, गाने चल रहे होते हैं backdrop में, it's a chilled out zone. But for India, it's like intense. मतलब कोई ज़्यादा बात भी नहीं करता. There's a Ashwin who starts from who stays from start to stop. वो बॉल डालता ही रहेगा एक नेट के अंदर. एंड विराट कोहली ने 2-3 बार मैंने वीडियोस में देखा है, बोला भी हुआ है कि आई डोंट वांट टू बी डिस्टर्ब्ड व्हेन आई एम प्रैक्टिसिंग, आई विल साइन एंड डू थिंग्स आफ्टर दैट. अ प्लेयर kind of you know attempts to find that zone in the nets. It's not about meeting the ball in the middle, it's about finding that match zone. And जो atmosphere कल था, it was all fun and games, but उसके मतलब इतना
Yeah.
मत करो यार.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I
I'll
don't
tell you
want to
something.
name players. I know जिस player के against भी क्या क्या बोला गया. I don't want to name those players, but it was in a very very distasteful way. I
Yeah.
think all this is fine. I know what Cricket Australia were trying to do. It's very good for the popularity. Home side
Yeah.
की
No, but
practice
I'll
session
also
में
say something here.
70
You know,
70 लोग थे चेतन home side के practice session में, and when India came, close to 5,000 people were watching the net
yeah. No,
sessions.
look. You know what? If you look at this picture, if you look at this picture on the story, this is almost outside of the dressing room. Okay. ये स्टेडियम है आपका और उसके बाहर है. And Dopayan has also been to the Adelaide Oval. Srini, you've been also there. This area is usually cordoned off. इस एरिया की एंट्री पे, दिस इज अ वॉकवे फॉर द मैच डेज, और इसके सामने आपका नेट प्रैक्टिस एरिया है. And usually this is cordoned off when the practice is going on. When the practice gets over, then the fans are allowed if they want to sign some autographs or take some pictures, etc., etc. So I was really surprised कि उन्होंने इतने अंदर तक fans को allow किया while the practice was on. Although it's been cordoned off, there's a walking area for the players to get to the nets, probably for the media as well. But I was very surprised to see this because in the last 2.5, 3 tours that I've been to Australia, I've never seen anything like that. And yes, I can understand किस तरीके की heckling हो रही होगी. That's never good to see. Let's move on to the next story. because in the end, it's the players. Sorry, it's the fans' loss. Because especially when the players go overseas, they are very happy to mingle and sign autographs and take pictures. So, because of some people, it's a larger community's loss. Okay, let's move on to the next story. Michael Clark's comment about Virat Kohli. He's already got 100 in Perth, looking ominous, looking dangerous. When I think about losing the test match, there's one thing, and when I think about Virat Kohli making 100 in the first test, that scares me a lot. I'll go for Virat being the leading run scorer for India in the second test. And why not? It's being played at Adelaide, jahan pe hopefully we'll see a statue for Virat Kohli. I mean, Srini, Virat Kohli and Adelaide is a love affair, is a love
Yeah,
story,
but
right?
this Michael Clark, I really hope he gets paid very well for all this, all these comments that he keeps making. I mean, non-stop
Yeah,
chatter. I mean, I
I'm
hope
sure
he's
he's getting
getting
paid
good
very
money
well.
for that. Yeah, I mean, he has a view on everything in life. I mean, but fair enough. But yeah, Virat Kohli. I mean, see, Virat
Mm.
Kohli, Australia. Again, I mean, Sir Don Bradman's record under threat. So chatter around Virat never tends to kind of stop. I
Yeah.
mean, this is the
But
most
let's
obvious
let's
thing that is
overall
going
talk
on.
about it. Let's overall talk about it. What does it mean that the fact that he looked really good, really comfortable, uh, in that first test, got those runs. India won as well. It's a feel good factor as always. And most importantly, he's going to his favorite hunting ground in Australia. Well, what does it mean
That's
to you?
it.
Yeah.
That's the thing. He's going to his favorite hunting ground. He's in Australia. That itself, the country, that he loves to tour. His records speak for him. The media loves him. And he obviously has no love lost. With certain. So I mean, all of that. Virat Kohli's Australia story is love, absolute love. Kind of. That kind of is one of the factors that kind of adds a lot of gravitas to the Border-Gavaskar Trophy, and adds a lot of gravitas to this rivalry in the first place. Now that said, Virat Kohli's century in the third test, yes, great to see him back among runs. Great man, this thing for India again. Threat gets bigger for Australia, etc., etc. But at best, the point is, by the time he arrived and started batting, the hard work was done. So I'm not. That's why the more I speak about Virat, the more I'll have to go back to speak about Yashasvi and KL Rahul in that test match. The more I speak with KL Rahul, if I speak with the more I speak about Virat, I'll have to kind of double up what I say about Yashasvi and KL, because it all started with the two of them. Now, having said that, if this whole chatter, the Michael Clarks of Australia are going to keep themselves busy with Virat Kohli, so be it. It's good for India. I mean, at least there's nobody talking about Yashasvi and nobody talking about KL, and that gives them the freedom to kind of do and what they are doing very well right now.
Mm.
So I'll stick to that.
Okay, Gopayan, your thoughts on this? Let's get some comments. And Ravi Shankar आए हैं, जुड़े हैं हमारे साथ. क्या कह रहे हैं? Last time when India played international match at Adelaide, England beat India by 10 wickets and Virat Kohli scored an iconic 40 ball 50. अच्छी memory है. That was a different format, Ravi Shankar. Um, Clark is being candid. I believe Adelaide is Virat's fortress. Pink ball test is a different kettle of fish, even for the best in the business. But he got 76 last time, and that was a fabulous 76. और शायद अगर रन आउट नहीं होता, again let's not go there, but अगर नहीं होता तो शायद एक सेंचुरी लग जाती. But he was looking fabulous for that 76. That was I think, if we can say it, Gopayan, that was perhaps the best looking Virat we remember, right? And we haven't seen that Virat for a very long time now. क्योंकि उसके बाद तो
like if
बहुत ही
you,
पैचेज
yeah,
हो गया था ना.
if you say after 2019, then yes, that was a
Yeah,
very
because
very
after that
good
we've seen a very patchy
but
Virat,
but
right?
but
So from
what
that
we saw
perspective,
Virat
that
in
76 was amazing. Yeah.
yeah, for me the best Virat was the second innings of the 2016 Adelaide Test match, when India were chasing what 380 or something and fell short by 48 runs, and how he changed the like
No, no,
approach
no.
of Indian cricket. Yeah, like that.
No, no, just
Yeah.
a sec, just a sec. Just to
Mhm.
be clear, what I meant was before this up and down in his touch, in his
Yeah,
form,
yeah, yeah. I
उसकी बात कर रहा
understand
हूँ.
what you were saying.
उससे पहले जो last innings that comes to my mind where we saw the dominating Virat, the free flowing Virat, the
True.
Virat Kohli that we know really.
Hmm.
That was that 76. But otherwise, that second innings in Adelaide, that is for me, in personally, that for
Yeah.
me is his best knock ever.
Best knock
I
ever. Yeah.
can't. Yeah, I have a
Hmm.
picture from that particular knock. वो मैंने संभाल के रखी हुई है. That was my first tour to Australia as well. I can't forget that innings. That second
Uh,
innings 100 was amazing.
yeah, but having said all the good things that need to be said, I want to go back to
Yeah.
one statement of mine which I predicted in the ahead of the first test, and I stick to it, that
Hmm.
Virat Kohli's success in this test match, in this test series, has a lot to do with how the openers play the new ball. If
Hmm.
the new ball is blunted, if Virat Kohli does not come at 10 for 2, then
Yeah.
he is a different beast. That
Altogether, yes.
old, yeah, then he will be very, very good. But if
Hmm.
again Australia has India in that spot where they had them in the first innings, then
Hmm.
I am not very sure whether we will see that Virat Kohli against
Yes.
the moving ball at a pace,
I'm
moving
glad
ball
you
at a,
said that. I'm
yeah.
glad you said that. When I say you said that, as in जब मैंने ये कहा था ना तो मुझे काफी गालियां पड़ी थी comments में. But I'm glad somebody else is also thinking that. Let's go to the Virat fan amongst us, the biggest Virat fan amongst us. Sahil, how relevant is this point कि अगर आप 10 for 2 नहीं होंगे? And I think it's not just about Virat, it's about any batting lineup. अगर ऑस्ट्रेलिया भी 10 for 2 हो जाएगा पहले बैटिंग करके तो then they are also in deep trouble, especially with the pink ball. So I think this test match is about which bowling attacks gonna come on top, and I think that is going to be the theme throughout the series, especially with Jasprit Bumrah in the Indian attack.
Yeah, I think that was supposed to be the story at least before the first test. Now, with India batters finding their mojo in the first test, I think scales have tilted slightly in favor of India as far as batting is also concerned. Right now,
Hmm.
Australia look a very fractured batting unit.
Hmm.
Marcus Labuschagne, Steve Smith, they just don't give you the confidence which is required from a middle order.
Hmm.
Now, just taking on from what Dwaipan was mentioning about Virat, I think yes, he made a very valid point, and more than Michael Clark's statement, I think if we can replay the Alan Border comment, I think we did play that in one of the shows where Alan Border mentioned how Australia allowed Virat to just run away with that 100. So
Hmm.
Australia also allowed him to score that 100 because they dropped
Yeah.
guard. एक पॉइंट के बाद जब बॉल में कुछ हो नहीं रहा था एंड एक्चुअली अलाउड विराट टू जस्ट स्पेंड सम टाइम आउट देयर व्हेन बॉल वाजंट डूइंग मच so that did help him. Otherwise, if you look at the first innings, the few deliveries which he faced, he looked absolutely uncomfortable. He was facing the ball, मतलब वो ball
Hmm.
sticker पे meet हो रहा था. He was not meeting the ball where it was supposed to be met. The guard was all over the place. He was standing outside the crease. So clearly, a lot of confusion was there in the head. But the moment ball soft hua, you got a good start. There was confidence in his stride. He restored the guard, restored the position around the popping crease, and looked a much better batter. But it will change when it becomes 10 for 2 for sure. So Virat
Okay.
has to kind of find his way around that, and I completely agree with Dwaipan on that. वो 10 for 2 से आपको bail out करने
Yes.
वाला player, what we saw in South Africa probably a couple of times, I don't see that happening because a lot is going in his head. अभी वो desperation उसकी batting में दिख नहीं रहा, but inside you can make out that he's very desperate to get those test runs now. Because
Right.
as I said, RCB title and Virat Kohli Mount 10K is still unfinished business for him.
Right. Well, that is our show for today. क्योंकि after tonight, there's only going to be one more sleep before we go to the pink ball test match. I mean, काफी लंबा gap हो गया, understandably, because they needed the warm-up game in between that pink ball as well. But having said that, oh yes, one more comment. Okay, Rahul on guiding Yashasvi. I saw a bit of myself in him, how I was 10 years ago opening the batting for the first time. Lots of doubts, lots of nerves. You keep doubting your own game, and a lot happens in your head. So all you can try is do slow down and take a few deep breaths. I think Yashasvi Jaiswal is on a different trajectory than Rahul, although he sees a little bit of him in the young Yashasvi Jaiswal, and we hope that Jaiswal stays on that particular trajectory. Anybody want to comment on this on Jaiswal, Dopayan, Srini? One final comment on Yashasvi Jaiswal and what Rahul said about him.
No, yes, one thing I would just like to say about
Yeah,
Jaiswal is we will know the real Jaiswal after his first stint of failure comes. After
yeah,
three, and how he copes with that. That will show whether he will go on to become a great batter. Now he's in that purple patch
yeah,
situation where
yeah.
everything is falling
Srini,
into place for him.
yeah, Srini, quickly, yeah,
I can tell you one thing about Yashasvi, and I don't claim to know him personally very well, but I know a lot of people from that ecosystem. Okay, so kind of So the one thing, if you kind of go to the Mumbai Maidans and then you talk about Yashasvi, not the young Yashasvi, a lot has been said, came away to Bombay, did what he did, like, struggled, etc. The one thing that Yashasvi's, kind of plus point is, which will, the point that Vaipayan makes, is that we will get to know the real Yashasvi only once he faces his first failure, and what exactly is the coping mechanism. And that coping mechanism is where I see Yashasvi really blooming into a personality going forward, because he's very strong up here. He
Hmm.
is his ability to be meticulous about something that he plans and wants to go about in every kind of set of life. I mean, it's I mean, a lot of chatter happens. It's not fair for me to say everything that I hear, but everything that I've heard about him tells me one thing about Yashasvi: his ability to do his math, calculate, and come to an understanding of how he needs to address a
Hmm.
particular situation, how he needs to address a particular scenario, is actually kind of has a lot of potential. It's That's the element in Yashasvi which will kind of begin to show as he kind of grows older and kinds of cements his place in this thing. That is the ability. A lot of guys can bat, a lot of guys can score runs, a lot of guys can kind of have playing cricket in the Maidans, can come up with but what sets Yashasvi apart is this: his mental strength.
Yeah.
And as we go further, as his career grows, we will get to hear about this facet more and more. And I think this resilience that he brings may just about go on to become his biggest winning point in life.
Yeah, beautifully said. And just one thing on that, Dobayan, yes, his biggest test will be when there's a downturn in form, but let's hope that that is very far off. With the kind of
Yes.
with the kind of consumption and
And
he's showing dedication he's
yeah,
showing at the moment, and the confidence with which he's batting. Amazing to see in that second innings. Yeah, quickly.
and one thing about Yashashi's batting is that, like, he does not have a glaring weakness anywhere. Like, the
Yeah,
players who tend to fall out, like, I'm just
yeah,
picking up one guy, Prithvi Shaw. Prithvi
yeah.
Shaw, temperament, etc. But then his glaring weakness against the short ball, like, he just could not deal with it. Like, he
Mhm.
did not know where to go. But this Yashasvi Jaiswal does not have a glaring weakness in his game. So if he sticks to what he knows, he
Yeah.
should be fine. He should manage the difficult uh, times in his career. I think that's what stands him in good state.
Right. So that was our show for today. Thank you so much to K. Srinivas Rao, Group Sports Editor, Times of India, Dopayan Datta, and Sahil Malhotra for joining us. Tomorrow we'll be back at 6:30 with the big build-up, the preview show for the second Test match, or फिर उसके बाद on all days of the Test match, and we are hoping there'll be 5 days, if at least 4 days. We'll be coming at 5 p.m. immediately after the game ends. So do note that time, 6:30 p.m. tomorrow, and on the match days of the second Test match after the last ball is done, whether it's 4:30 p.m. or 5 p.m., depending on when the last ball is bowled. So we'll be coming early in the evening. We'll see you all at 6:30 tomorrow. Thanks to all our viewers and everybody who sent in their comments. Do subscribe and like the video, and do us that favor. We're looking forward to you all joining us tomorrow. Until then, it's goodbye.